guys, today I have a pretty exciting update for you for my project pen porn. So I'm doing my project pen porn a little bit different this year. So my goal is to hit pan on eyeshadows instead of like pen a palette, like finishing the eyeshadows. But also I wanted to add a little bit of a zest to my own project pen. So I decided I would be working on two palettes at the same time. One is from my older kind of palettes and the other one is from my like newer purchases. So that way I can work on a new and old palette at the same time. As soon as I hit pan on some shade, one or some shades in each palette, I will just roll them out, roll something else in, and continue to work on more palettes throughout the year. So last update, I was working on, of course, two palettes. The newer one that's in this project is actually from Marc Jacobs, and the shade name for the palette is 216 The Enigma. Before last update, which is when I put this product in the project, this one was brand new, like it was barely ever used. And this time around, I think it's definitely well loved. But only on some shades. So you can see that it got some colorful shades here, and there's a black that I wasn't planning on using at all. So I was just trying to work on those 6 shades. But in reality, last month I only worked on those 2 mainly. So I really used those 2 in combination with a lot of other looks. I used this to deepen my outer V a whole lot, and I used this kind of in the inner corner part. So those 2 I've been using very consistently, like every day almost. And you can see a dip in both of them, but I don't think there's a pan. I probably still have to work on them maybe 1 more month or even 2 more to hit pan on them. Also because I'm not using them on big surface areas on my eyes. And I use this lighter matte pink shade as a transition color every once in a while, not very often, so I don't think there's much using that. Also, I used this green a little bit on my lids sometimes, but also not a whole lot. And this pink and this blue color, I just didn't touch at all. So not a whole lot of progress. I'm at least using it. And I think I really love those 2 shades. They're just so good, so easy to work with. They make any look just, they can pull everything together, you know? They make any look better. So I'm really impressed by this palette, and I am totally happy. I'm still working on it. And then I have a older palette I was working on. This is from Elle. It's a limited edition palette. It's called An Enchanted Tale. So this palette is really old, and I kept it for the longest time thinking it's a little bit more on the colorful side, but the quality on this one isn't all that great. Those like colorful shades are really muddy. They don't really show up on your eyes as they are in the pan. And I just feel it's not really worth my time. I was really only trying to focus on this pink color alone. And you can see that at the beginning of the project, this pink color was barely untouched, and I had to use it consistently for about 2 months, and now I finally have pan. It's not a lot of pan, but you can see the dip around it, so I think I definitely used it quite a bit. And those pans are pretty deep to my surprise. There's a lot of product in there. So anyways, I hit pan on it, and I think it's really not worth it for me to keep the entire palette just for 1 shade. So I'm just gonna declutter it now, even though a lot of the shades are barely touched, you know what I mean? But it's just unnecessary. I don't need it, and I would rather just get rid of it now. So because I hit pan on that 1 palette, I'm gonna roll it out and roll in something else in its place. I really debated what palette I should be using. Also, it has to be one of the older ones. So I went back and forth among a few options, and I finally settled on this. So it's my Z palette, or in other words, I'm gonna work on a grouping of some depotted shadows. So those are the shadows that I have, and they are all from the Balm. And I depotted my Bon Jovi palette and my Nude 2 palette. And it just happens to be that the pan shape, they're the same. So in this configuration, there are 9 shades, but they're from 2 different palettes, and they just happen to be the same shape, and they fit in here nicely. So I would of course have all of the shades listed down below if you're curious to know, because obviously they're not in its original configuration anymore. And I kind of just sorted them in a way that makes sense to me, from like lighter to deeper, you know, that kind of direction. And right now you can see that one shade right here actually has pan in it, and it's a pretty large pan. Sorry, the reflection is not really helping. Right there you can see there's a big pan. So I'm not counting that product. I'm trying to hit pan on one of the other 8 right here. So I think I can do that because I definitely realized that that one shade that I have pan on, it's really crumbly and powdery, and I hit pan on it so fast. So I have hope that the other shades will go away a little bit fast too. All of those colors came from those 2 palettes that I mentioned, and I've had those palettes for so many years. They're definitely very, very old. So I wouldn't be surprised if any of the rest of the shades are pretty crumbly too. I think it will be a good way for me to use them because for me, or maybe for some of you too, I tend to depot my shadows and thinking, yeah, I got rid of all the packaging. I put them in my Z palettes and I never touch them again. That's just why? Like, it doesn't do anybody any good if they're just in a different place and still not used. So I decided to work on this. I have a few other like palettes that I depotted entirely, and maybe I can work on those later on as well. But anyways, I think I'm pretty excited to use this one. It's, you know, all the shades are pretty neutral too, and I got a few like deeper shades if I am feeling the fall mood. I might even just use those. So we'll see. I think I'm happy with the progress. I'm happy that I hit pan on one more palette, it gets rolled out, and yeah, I'm having a lot of fun in this project. And if you enjoy this project too, just give me a like. And also, if you want to see my future update, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and you can even click on that bell button so you can get notified whenever I upload. And thank you guys for watching. Bye.